G'day guys, welcome back to the Thirsty Mason. Today's lesson is about grape spirits, in particular brandy. Now, before we get into it, when it comes to brandy, you have to keep in mind A, B, C. Okay? A, Armagnac, B, brandy, C, cognac. Cool? So let's delve into why all brandies are technically speaking grape spirit, but not all grape spirits are just regular brandies. Understood? So a brandy is any kind of spirit that has been crafted by using fruit. And you can narrow that down to something called country brandies, such as your pear brandy, your plum brandies. That's essentially you're making a country wine out of plums, pears, oranges, whatever you like, and then distilling that in order to make a brandy. But the true and honest rendition of brandy is grape spirit that has been aged in either French or American oak. In regular New World terms, brandy could be made out of essentially any grape variety. You can make a brandy out of Shiraz if you like. But that is not the equivalent of true cognac, however. This is Cavassier, okay? Cavassier VS. So you're probably wondering, all right, what makes Cavassier or cognac different to regular brandies? It's the grapes utilized for the crafting of cognac are very, very stringent. You need to use a grape called Uni Blanc, Semillon, which is what we're quite famous over here, and some Chenin Blanc, along with Frontenac, that can sometimes go in there. But the structure of the specific grapes utilized is regulated by law, by French law. So that's the first major difference. It is made almost exclusively out of white wine grapes. Second difference, has to be aged in untouched, beautiful French oak, which yields them far more complex flavor and far more vanilla, and it really suits it quite to a T. And lastly, all Cavassier or all cognac has to be distilled twice. And it has to come from the cognac region in France. So if you see a bottle of cognac but it's made in Australia, I've got a feeling that somebody just ripped you off, son, because it doesn't exist. Alright, just like champagne has to come from the Champagne region of France, cognac has to come from the cognac region of France. Cool? Let's move on. Now to the last and far more complex one, that is Armagnac. Armagnac is also from a region in France, and it also has the rules and regulations about what grapes they can utilize, etc., etc. But the biggest difference is they only have a single distillation process, which means that the resulting liquor is has far more impurities, therefore it is far more complex. Now, you only have to get fucked up once on Armagnac to realize how, hefty it is. Okay? Because Cavassier has been cleaned up for a second round, or cognac's been, gone through a second round of distilling, tends to clean up the palate, but it loses something in flavor. Armagnac loses nothing in flavor, but it's got more contaminants in it, which means that you're going to get fucked up. How it is. Okay? So, you're probably wondering, what the hell does the little VS and VSOP and XO stand for? And there's also one beyond that, but I've never personally seen it. So VS stands for very special, which means everything inside the bottle has to be at least 2 years old. VSOP, minimum of 4 years old. XO, minimum of 6 years old, and then there's some special stuff that goes beyond XO, and very, very few countries other than France use it. It's called Ors d'Âge. Ors d'Âge means the golden age, which means anything it can account for anything. If I had a specialty 21-year-old a bottle of Armagnac, we would call it Osdage, golden aged cognac. Now you notice I'll have two glasses here. One's a big bulbous glass and one's a Glencairn glass. Okay? And these are very important glasses. And I didn't introduce those in some of my original video, and I should have done that. A Glencairn glass is used for Armagnac. Because Armagnac, like whiskey, is subtle, has a lot of contaminants, and needs the fine circle in the nose to really stick your nose in and appreciate the aroma. It's bulbous at the bottom, allowing you to aerate and really get your nose in. But because cognac is double distilled and brandies can be double distilled, the use of the balloon cognac glass or the balloon brandy glass allows your hand to constantly warm the brandy as you have it in your hand. Also, it allows you to aerate almost like a very fine wine. You notice that ironically that is almost the same as my regular red wine tasting glass, just without the longer stick. That's not a coincidence. In order to truly appreciate brandy, you really need that surface area to work it and let it evolve in the glass. Armagnac doesn't need that work. It already has character in bundles, alright? Like it picture a really high-end redbreast whiskey. That needs no explanation. It gives it to you straight away. This needs to be teased. So let's pour ourselves a glass of Cavassier. 2-year-old VS. I don't need all that much. Alright, and what we'll do is we're just gonna slowly swirl the glass. Let it speak to us a little bit while we let our hands' warmth aerate it and allow those beautiful fumes to fumigate, you know? Yeah, beautiful. It'll cleanse up your senses. It's opening up beautifully. Yeah, the subtlety of the fruits. You have to fight past the heat, but there is a lot of complexity. Okay, like this, it's got waves of fine caramel, light, like spring flowers. It's got almost like the smell of. How would I explain this? Have you ever had chamomile tea that's been steeped for like in a half cup of hot water overnight? That intense florality of like chamomile tea. It's really herbaceous, light, flowery, whereas Armagnac would be a lot more deep, rich, and caramel-like. Let's have a taste. Almost no burn. Goes down very smoothly, very easily. As an entry-level cognac, you can do worse than Cavassier. There's Hennessy as well, which is fine. I prefer the Cavassier myself. A lot less bite back. Hennessy does have that little bit of bite back, but without any major reward for it. If I'm gonna have to deal with any negative repercussion in my drinking experience, I have to be gaining something back from it. Cavassier just gives you a very easy drinking cognac. You can have it by the fire. You can have it as an aperitif. You can have it as a digestif. Just by yourself, you're enjoying yourself. Delightful. Go out there, get yourself a nice bottle of cognac. If you can find Armagnac, get yourself a bottle of that instead. And then worst case scenario, believe it or not, there are some fantastic New World producers of amazing brandy that can rival anything of France. For example, the fantastic St. Agnes brandy here in Australia, or even the Chateau Tanunda brandy is improving unbelievably. It used to be quite cheap, Blanc. Anyway, guys, stay thirsty, enjoy your beautiful spirit safely, and yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.